Hi, it's Dietitian Jill, and let me get out of here. I am overwhelmed with plastic everywhere, even my coffee little containers that I put in my Keurig and even my supplement bottles are plastic. And, you need to get this out of your life. And why do you need to get it out of your life? Well, I got to tell you, you wouldn't believe the pile I have here. I've got, I think something I bought, clothing came here, and then this is my toilet paper, and this is my gluten-free rolls, and more gluten-free rolls. Hangers, I'm throwing them on the ground. My cotton rounds that are 100% pure cotton, my dairy-free cream cheese, I'm inundated with this. I cannot tell you how many times I see styrofoam containers. This one is kind of very hoity-toity because it's black. But there's a mountain of this stuff. This is just a week's worth of stuff that came into my life, plus these. Yeah, don't we love those? Oh, and the kitty litter. Don't forget that. We definitely need that. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about today, would you like me to clear this out? I will clear it out for you. What I'm going to talk about today is BPA, Bisphenol-A, that's BPA, and phthalates, okay? That's also plastic stuff. I'm just going to adjust my little thing a little bit. All my, my supplements. Anyway, I'm going to talk about that today, and why am I talking about that? Well, BPA, and I know we talk about stuff that's BPA free, and all of the time you're looking at BPA free stuff. Well, here's the problem. The problem is all of this stuff can make you fat, can make you sick, can make you autoimmune, and yada, yada, yada. Because a couple of weeks ago I did a blog post called Can Obesogens Make You Fat? And no one knows what obesogens are. You probably don't know what obesogens are. But obesogens are toxic chemicals that bind to receptor sites on your cells and cause inflammation. They stimulate fat cell growth, and they just, make you fat. There was one quote in that article, which you can see on my website here, yourhealthnow.com, where somebody says even skinny people are getting fat. So this is a problem. This is a real problem. And let me kind of back up here and do a little science piece here. I'm sorry. I got to do a science piece. Again, Dietitian Jill, thank you for joining me. If you're here, I really appreciate it. Talking about BPA, that's in plastics, and also phthalates, which is the stuff that makes plastic flexible, like for your straws with your Jack-in-the-Box stuff. Yes, I actually drank this so well in a moment of weakness. What can I tell you? Anyway, so let me kind of back up and explain a little bit. We have receptor sites on our cells. Receptor sites are places for enzymes and hormones and other good stuff to bind to your cell so that they can go into the cell and so that they can do stuff. Hey, Rodney, how are you? Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in forever. Thank you for the heart. Anyway, we have these receptor sites. It's very important because, stuff binds to the receptor site, goes in the cell, and does stuff in the cell that make you healthy, right? So what happens with stuff like BPA and phthalates is hi Rodney's, nice to see you. I'm not seeing you, but I see you saying hi, Jill. They bind to these receptor sites on your cell, and instead of the right stuff binding to it, they bind and they cause problems. They cause problems with your health because eventually this right stuff can't get in your cell, and you end up with autoinflammation, toxic overload, and autoimmune. So this is not plastic. So what do we need to do? What do we need to do? We need to avoid plastics as much as we can. And you can see from my whole thing that it's hard to avoid them. But you also want to deal with stuff that has you want to deal with stuff that doesn't have, this is my little cheat sheet, excuse me, stuff that doesn't have numbers on it that are 3, 6, and 7. Those are recycle codes. You don't want those. You do not want those. You want to look for 2, 4, and 5 on your plastic containers. I think these guys have a 2. That means they're BPA and phthalate free. Okay? So you really want to get away from these things because there are other chemicals that are going on in your environment that are also doing the same thing. They're also binding to these receptor sites, and the right stuff can't get in. And one of the problems is, hey, Dietitian Jill, I'm talking about BPA or Bisphenol-A, which is the stuff that's in your plastics. They bind to these receptor sites and the right things can't get in, and it can cause obesity, it can cause autoimmune disease eventually, autoimmune disease causes other diseases because they're finding that things like diabetes, things like heart disease, things like lupus, and yes, diabetes too, lupus and Lyme and all of that are all autoimmune disease. So it all starts with inflammation. It all starts with toxic overload. And this is one way that we become toxic, in that the right things can't get in our cell. And these things disrupt endocrine production and disrupt our metabolism, so that we're having a very difficult time, obviously, digging out from all this stuff. So what you want to do, a couple of things, a couple of ideas. You really want to stick to either glass. I know that's hard to carry and it's heavy, but I have one. You want to stick to glass bottles to carry your water in. You want to stick to stainless steel, which is easier to carry your water in. You want to do that because basically this is how the water happens, and basically I see people carrying plastic containers wherever they go, and I got to tell you that even, I threw it down there, that even the plastic containers that the water comes in, probably not a great thing. And on top of that, BPA is just one chemical in plastics. One chemical. We don't know what else is in there that may be causing problems. So as much as you can, get it out of your life. You remember, I don't know if you remember, but if you're old like me, you remember. But at one time, my mother used to wrap my sandwiches to go to school in wax paper. And there are actually environmentally friendly wraps. They're not the world's greatest. They haven't, gotten to get, they're not the world's greatest. So, but you can at least do some. I love Tom O'Brien's work. He wrote a book called The Autoimmune Fix. He calls it base hits win the ball game. What do you expect? He's a guy. I like, instead, baby steps lead to big wins. That's my thing. So even if you just take your water in a stainless steel container instead of plastic, even if you, even if you get glass bottles, all of my gluten-free flours and everything is stored. Actually, this is a glass bottle. I'm so sorry, lid key. Glass bottle, good thing. All of my gluten-free flours and stuff on my counter are stored in glass containers. Try and do a little of that, because the more you do, the less toxic your body will become. Okay? Again, Dietitian Jill talking about BPA, Bisphenol-A, and phthalates, which are the plastics that are in just about everything that you eat, drink, and whatever. You really want to just figure out how to make this work in your life. And stuff, it's like, I'm looking at this. My Amazon bag. I love Amazon, but this is plastic. Anyway, you want to really make sure that you're doing stuff to help your health, because here's part of the problem. The problem is that there are thyroid receptors. Remember, I talked about the cells and I talked about the receptors on the cell. There are thyroid receptors on every cell. Obviously, we need it. We need those thyroid hormones. We need them because they are the metabolism. How do I explain this? They're like the thermostat of the cell, right? Thyroid turns on and off your metabolism in your cell. And if you've got all of these things from plastics and other things sticking to those receptor sites, you're going to have a real problem. So this is me, Dietitian Jill, talking about Bisphenol-A and phthalates, which are the two plastics that are in almost everything else. When I was a kid, they talked about better living through chemistry. And I remember, I don't know if you love the movie The Graduate. There's a line in the beginning that's hysterical where the guy is telling Dustin Hoffman's character, plastics are the future. Well, plastics might be not our future. They may be the death of us. So please get some plastic out of your life, okay? And I will talk to you again with something else about your health or your weight. Again, Dietitian Jill signing off. Bye-bye.